We will go ahead and continue our post-race media availabilities. We will now be joined by members of the race-winning team. We're here now with President and GM of Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Andrews. Jeff, big day for you guys. You had Chase win the regular season championship. Kyle Larson won the race today. Can you talk about a little bit what that means for the organization?
Yeah, I think first of all, just so proud of all the men and women of Hendrick Motorsports and the season we've had to date. And certainly the regular season championship is, something we want to focus on today. A lot of work goes into that through the season, a lot of effort to get that done. And really proud of Chase and Alan and all the guys on the 9 as well as all the folks back in Charlotte who made that happen. And, Cliff and Kyle, great job to them as well on the win today. And, we'll just, we got one more next week in Daytona, and then we're off to the playoffs. So.
Perfect. We'll go ahead and open up for questions. If you have one, please raise your hand and we'll get to you. We'll start here in the middle with Zach, and then go to Jim and Dustin.
Zach Sterniolo with NASCAR.com. Jeff, obviously there was contact on that last restart between Kyle and Chase that led to Kyle getting the win. What was your take on that? And that's now twice that there's been some contact that's led to a Kyle win. Have you talked to Chase and kind of gotten where he stands on everything?
Yeah, we talked after the race, and I think you saw Chase there talking with Mr. Hendrick and Jeff Gordon as well. And as you can imagine, and certainly don't blame him for the frustration. Two great race cars, ran towards the front all day long. Great job on the strategy. Everything was, coming our way to play out nicely there for a 1-2 finish. And, it's a tough racetrack from a restart standpoint. And turn 1 is known for that kind of contact and shaking things up there at the end. And certainly hate that for Chase and Alan and that team, as hard as they worked all day in the car they had all day. And at the same time, I know there was, no intent there by Kyle certainly to have that happen. That's the last thing we want to have happen. So, as a team, we'll work on that internally. And, but today and short term here, we're going to focus on the great race cars that were here today at the track, and what a good job we did with that. And like I said, the regular season points championship as well.
Thank you.
Go to Jim and then Dustin.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you, Jim.
Just sort of following up on that, you sort of touched on it, but team owners, Rick himself, many times have said, last thing, I don't care what they do, just don't wreck each other at the end of the race. But looking at, I don't know how much you've been able to look at a replay or anything, does this appear to be a particularly egregious situation, or is it more dealing with the disappointment of one driver who obviously had a very fast car and had led the most laps and seemed in position to win?
Yeah, I certainly don't. I haven't watched it. I saw it one time there on TV, but I haven't watched it repeatedly. But certainly nothing egregious there at all. I mean, you have two guys racing down into turn 1 as fast as they possibly can and standing on the brakes and, trying to get cars to turn right down there. And as I said, it's tough, right? It's known for that here. And, again, it's unfortunate. The last thing Kyle wanted to happen was that, I promise you. And it's unfortunate for Chase and Alan and that race team the way that turned out for them today. So, again, we're going to focus on 2 really good race cars that were in control of that race at the end and a win and a regular season championship.
And a quick follow-up, going to next week, you guys have been particularly good on super speedways. There's obviously going to be a lot of people trying to race their way into the playoffs. Do you expect that you'll still have an opportunity to have one of you guys in victory lane?
We sure hope so. As you said, we've had fast race cars at super speedways, and we've done some work on our super speedway program since Talladega. We're excited to get back down there at Daytona, and we're going to race hard for a win, and we're also going to be loyal to our Chevrolet partners, and of course, if there's anything we can do there to get any of those cars in that aren't already in, we'll be there to help as well. But our goal is to go down there and lead laps and win that race as well. That there's playoff points to be handed out, and that'll be our last opportunity to get some. We'd like to leave there with some.
We'll go to Dustin and then to Jeff.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Jeff, I mean, what really needs to be done after this? I mean, I understand you say talk, but this is a big boy sport, and as you noted, this is contact that happens at this track and then on road courses anyway. So, really, what does anything need to be done, and does it really matter at the end of the day if one's a little bit upset with the other at this point?
Well, I think for us, Dustin, what's most important is that we have a good cohesive race team internally. And again, we're not going to, I think Chase did a wonderful job post-race. I commend him for all the frustration that was there and some of the things that could have been said. But again, we're going to work on it internally. And I don't, I can't sit here and tell you that we or Jeff or Mr. Hendrick, I have a plan of something to do. But we do have to have a cohesive race team going into these playoffs, and that's what we'll work on, and we'll work on that internally and be ready to come out of gate strong, not only next weekend at Daytona, but for Darlington.
And certainly you've talked about the strong cars. Obviously, you guys have been pretty strong on road courses and haven't always been able to capitalize this year. But, there's only one more left. So, where do you feel like you guys are overall with your other program moving forward as you get into the playoffs here with only one more road course left?
When you say, you talk about other programs outside of the Roval? I think we're in decent shape. I mean, you never feel comfortable. I mean, we've talked of recent on this car and just the competitiveness in the garage of, 1 week you can go out and have multiple cars in the top 5, and then the next week we seem to struggle to multiple cars inside the top 15, and it's that way across the garage. And I think it's just, the nature of the car and the racing right now. It's a lot of great race team, obviously a lot of great drivers in this series, and, momentum helps, as you well know, and certainly, those playoff points that were earned today by the 9 and that regular season championship, that helps. And I think all those things, carry you through that 10-week span. But really, boy, anything can happen in that span. You can have great dominant cars during the regular season. And as you well know, it's a whole different ball game when we start racing in September, October, early part of November. So as we've done in the past, we're going to prepare the best cars that we can, and cross our eyes and get ready to go. So.
We're going to go to Jeff, and then Nathan, and then we're going to wrap with Marty.
Well, it's so close to playoffs now, and Chase's frustration might be lingering for a bit. How do you make sure that nothing carries over to the playoffs, which is such an important time of year, and you don't want your guys to be upset with each other?
I think, again, I have no issue at all that Chase is upset right now. I mean, I think that's perfectly normal in this situation. And, we'll talk about it this week. We'll talk about it the week after. And, it's going to be motivation for him. Again, what we have to manage is internally, and I go back to that with Mr. Hendrick and Jeff, and just making sure we have a good cohesive race team, and we have 4 cars and 4 race teams that are ready to lock arms and go to battle here for these 10 weeks coming up.
Go to Nathan.
Nathan Son with the podium finish. Jeff, earlier in the season, the 24 and the 48, they obviously won their way into the playoffs. They struggled a little bit more this summer. How do you get their consistency back here into the playoffs?
Well, we're always working hard on all 4 of our cars, and unfortunately today, we put the 24 guys and William and Rudy behind with an electrical system issue during warm up and put them to the back, and it's just so hard, from a track position side, and felt like they had a great race car. We just needed a little track position, and Greg and Alex, those 2 guys work great together, and they're working on ways to improve their performance, as well going into playoffs. So, I think just, understanding what we can do internally to support them and give them all the ammunition they need to go forward and do the best job they can through the playoffs.
And yesterday you did one of the 3 planned road courses you guys have for this season in the Xfinity Series. Curious if an Xfinity program is something you guys are interested in continuing beyond this season.
We'll talk about that next year. I mean, I certainly do think it had some benefits for our guys through the year. And we'll talk, with our partners at JRM and find out what they have available, and as well decide, what we're going to do with the car that, we raced with yesterday. So that's a long ways off. I think that's winding down. Kyle's going to run Darlington here in a few weeks for JRM in the 88 car again. And, then after that, we're not eligible to run in the Xfinity Series anymore. So those will be some off-season plans that we talk about and decide what we're going to do in 2023.
And we'll take one final question from Marty.
Marty Sakala, Rock Sports Network, Race Pro Weekly. Jeff, congratulations. To your right.
Okay.
On a brighter note, just talk about this team and Hendrick Motorsports winning at Watkins Glen in the last 4 races here. Is this always a big race for you guys on the bucket list, especially ever since when Chase won his first career race here?
Well, it certainly is one that we've had success at, and obviously one on the calendar and the schedule that we look forward to coming to. I don't have a specific answer why. Obviously, we have tremendously talented road course drivers. That helps. Kyle and Chase, always do a good job of these tracks. William did an amazing job yesterday. To say we put any more time into road courses than we do other type of tracks, it's really the same. I just think it's an area of strength for us. And, as a company, again, just super proud of the effort that, everyone back at Hendrick Motorsports is putting into these race cars, because they're bringing some phenomenal equipment to the racetrack right now, and couldn't be more proud of that. So, one more road course left in the playoffs, but we also know there's 9 other tracks in that, and we're not going to get too confident about the Roval and lose sight of the other challenges that are in front of us as we go forward here. You're welcome.
All right, Jeff. Thank you for your
Okay,
time.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Congratulations.